How do you look back on the last 3 years at QPR? I know you're focusing on the last game tomorrow, but sort of what's the kind of what, what's your overall take on the job since you walked in the door to when you leave
I
today?
think my job, and this is it, as I said to Phil, it's a cliche, Ian, but any manager, he or she comes into an organisation, any business you go into, when you leave it, you want it to be in a better place. So that's the obvious question. What does that entail, being in a better place? Has the environment here for the football staff and players improved and been developed over the last 3 years? I think you can tick that box. I think has the quality of the squad kept moving players on, getting younger players in, getting good quality players in, I think we can tick the box, yes. You look at the quality of performance and the staff and level of play. Has a DNA been established? I think you could say yes. I'm very conscious of the last 8 weeks or so, Ian, but I think in general, you've asked a question over 3 years. I think a lot of those boxes can be ticked. If I was asked one question at the start, I think my second interview, how would you be judged? It would be on the crowds turning up at the home stadium. Because if the crowds are enjoying what they're seeing, then the crowds increase. And not just I don't mean from a revenue perspective, that's for the board and CEO to obviously, utilise. I'm talking about from the point of view that if the fan base are enjoying watching their team play, then we're all in a better place. And I hope very much that, crowds have increased and they've enjoyed watching the team, and the very kind comments that I've received in would suggest a strong support for that. So, yeah, I think it's in a better place. It's been a good journey. But now you want that work to carry on because there's a spine of a very, very good squad here as well.
And is there any kind of matches over that time that kind of stands out in your memory of one that you'll remember sort of fondly?
Yeah, you probably throw me a curveball there at this moment in time. I think, you look at certain, even this season, you look at the early ones. You look at Hull and Middlesbrough, for example. You look at the team spirit showed at Middlesbrough when Mo gets sent off in the 50th minute or something, 54th minute, and the character and quality they showed to go away to Hull. There's games last season, home to Brentford, away to Bristol City. You look at the various games, Ian, and say they're games where players grew up and learn and develop further, and you can see it. So I won't pick one particular game, but I just think in general it's been a pleasure to work with this squad of players and watching how the likes of Rob Dickey have come in, how the likes of Johan Barbe, Chrissy Willock, Ilias Chair, Lyndon Dykes, Sam Field, and the guys, anyone I missed out, Lee Wallace, people like this, Albert Dome, all these guys, Stephanie Hansen, I don't miss anyone out, and people like Don Ball who've come in from the very start and have been such a strong character and shown such quality on and off the field. I'm delighted to have worked with them, delighted for them as well, Ian.
Okay, would you say, just finally, just the job itself being a QPR manager, would you say, is it a tough job? Is it a hard job? Is it a harder job than you anticipated, shall we say?
I think every job has its challenges, Ian. Every job has its challenges. Every manager and coach will have different ideas. Some will be accepted, some will be implemented, some will be ignored, some will be dismissed. That's business. That's not just football. That's business in general. I think all managerial jobs are getting tougher for a variety of reasons. Probably too long to talk about on this call, but I think all managerial jobs are getting tougher. Different owners, different expectations, different demands. So many things coming: COVID restrictions, financial implications, reduction in squads. All these various impacts on academies, young players coming through. There's so many conversations you could have, Ian. But I think in general, it's always been a challenging job because of the nature of it and the passion that's evoked by it. So you look at football, they go to work in front of 15, 20, 30,000 people. They get scrutinised by the media, by social media. That's what they get paid, what they get paid. People go to me, what about a doctor? What about a nurse? What about, there's no disrespect for those fantastic professions. But unfortunately, these guys go to work, as I say, in front of 30,000 people and have every move broken down, analysed, interrogated. And that's why they get what they get. And also, it's a global game where millions play it, and these are the guys getting paid for it. They're the top end of it. So, it is where it is. But, I hope I could talk for a long, long time, Ian, but fingers crossed, I think you know where I'm coming from. But I just think, I think every season you have to reflect back. You have to look at the squad. You have to look at how you keep on building the squad. You have to look at staffing, and you have to look at how do you keep it fresh, and all of these various questions, Dave. As I say, I come from a different background. I'm used to the City background, and people say that's more ruthless. And I think for me, it's important that the drive, the energy, the intensity never, ever gets diluted. That's an honest one. And as I said, there's a lot of lessons that football can learn from the city, believe it or not. And I love the 20-70-10 rule. I like that. I like the fact that everyone's on their toes and driving forward. So I think for me, it's keeping it fresh. It's building the squad. It's looking at the staff. Where can we get better? Where can we improve? And in general, just pushing the club forward. The new training ground will be a big part of that. How to make sure that transition is smooth and beneficial. How do you improve all aspects? If you stop reviewing, if you stop driving, everyone just goes past you, Dave. So I hope very much that'd be my focus, right, to be in situ still. All joking apart, Dave, we are very privileged in football. You want to be in a position where you can add value. That's key to me. I don't want to go into I'm not being disrespectful to anyone here. I don't want to go into a mundane job where you go and do the same thing, and whether you do something or don't doesn't really make a difference. I would like to be in a position where you can add value and there's some positive consequence to what you do, positive impact to what you do. So whatever that may be, I'll see. I'm very conscious. I was asked yesterday in an interview, your time as a manager, would you look at other areas? One, you've got to be very open-minded. Two, I love being a manager. I want to carry on. But you're also very aware that bigger picture, there's a window for you to be in a certain role. And then it comes a time, not now, I'm very clear, not now, but there comes a time when the younger generation, you have to say, well, how do you continue to add value? I've got no interest to go and play golf every day, Ian, if you're still listening. I've got no interest playing that. I get bored doing that. But for me, it's just like making sure you're in a role where you add value, Dave. And if you're in that, I think you get excited by it, you get inspired by it, you get enthused by it, and you're in a good position. So that's me. I'm very much still there. The moment that candle burns down and I want to go and play golf, I'll do it. Have no doubt I will do it. But right now, that's, I hope, a very long time away. You look at Lukey first, what he's been through, Dave, well documented. You're up to speed and all of that. But to come back from 2 ACLs and to show that level of commitment, and he still gets frustrated. I said to you before, he's got to play with a smile on his face because he demands too much of himself. But he's done outstandingly well. Sam Field, I think, is probably one of our best performers, if not the best performer. Been first class since the surgery. Got injured 2 days before the first game of the season. Has come back from surgery, Dave, and shown a level of consistency, level of performance, which has been first class for young players. So excited for both of them, delighted for both of them, and I think they both have very significant futures ahead of them. We're looking light, I think, is a term I could use. I won't use the word decimated. We've got some injury problems tomorrow, so we are where we are in. So we'll put out a good team tomorrow. We'll put out a team that wants to go there and perform, and I hope very much we can get the right result for the fans and the players, everyone concerned. But injuries are a big aspect at this moment in time.